light. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal, light the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, Peacemakers gaming life so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste, feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every
Rumble here from the beautiful Rockingham Speedway. As drivers get ready to go to battle, they get ready to duke it out here in this one. We welcome you in for what is going to be another amazing show, brought to you by the HCK Beagles and all the amazing fans in the stands and sponsors that make this happen here this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grab your hats and get ready for an absolute amazing show here this evening as we get ready to rumble and drivers get ready to go to battle. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a great race. I believe we have 152 laps on the docket here this evening. So we'll get ready to set them loose. We'll get ready to go to battle here in this one. And starting on the pole in the number 18, it's Jacob Groove. Alex Pelican there in position number 2 out there on the racetrack. And then we see Brandon Meng, Chris Gilbert, Nick Gardner, the number 5 rider, Nicholas Snyder. Then we see Brian Chu, Nate Maurer, Zach Michael, and Tyson Pankow right there, as well as Josh Ely. That beautiful number 10 rider, Tim Blankenbeckler, Ed Koshersberger, Jason LePan, John Herbert back there in that beautiful 87 ride, Bobby Lair there in the 16, William Klein, Joshua Ledoux, Ryan Peterson. There we see Robert Howard, Neil Lapidus, Kyle Van Tassel, Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Brent Summers, Kevin Winker, Brad Lane, Stephen Hines, Mark Beverly, Cal Turbeville, Robert McDonald, and Frank Ranger Jr. bringing up the rear of the field. Here is 31 drivers. Get ready to duke it out here in this one. 31 drivers ready to battle, ready to go to war here this evening as we get ready to set them loose. We get ready to go to battle, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a great show, man. This is going to be a heck of a battle. I think we're going to see some great racing action, a lot of back and forth, ups and downs throughout the day for a lot of these drivers as they'll be looking to try to put themselves into what could be a very big win here this evening at Rockingham Speedway. As here we go, nice and easy down through corner number 3 and 4, and we get ready to go down to the Geico restart zone. As here we go, green flag in the air for Jacob Groove. Groove quickly onto the lap pedal here in this one. So Groove out in front sees that green flag fly, and he is looking to try to run away with this one. Groove leads us down the back straightaway nice and easy down through corner number 1 and 2 and down the backstretch into corner number 3 here in this one. So Groove down through 3 and out of 4, looking to hang on to the race lead. Had to check up there a little bit as Pelican closed the gap, got right to his back bumper, but it is Jacob Groove who leads lap number 1 here in this one. So Groove out in front, Pelican there in second, Gilbert, Nick Gardner, our top 5 out there on the racetrack. As you see Chris Gilbert and Zach Michael, they're battling here. You see Michael trying to work himself a little farther forward as right now he sits in that 6th position. Josh Ely right there with them, but man, oh man, oh man, the fighting here. this afternoon, it is not done yet. We're going to continue to see these drivers duke it out lap after lap after lap as they got here in my mouth here. There we go. As these guys continue to try to work themselves forward. We do see Tyson Pankow jump up inside the top 10 out there on the racetrack. So good to see him moving forward here up and into that 9th spot, looking to continue to keep on battling there towards the front, as we'll see these guys continue to duke it out and continue to try to drive their way up and into victory lane here this evening, as Brian Chu, Nate Maurer there in 11th and 12th. Both have fallen back quite a few spots here early in this race, but they'll be looking to try to keep on working themselves back towards the front of the pack here. But man, it's going to be hairy. It's going to be risky every single lap out there on the racetrack. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to run into an issue out there on the speedway. And for a lot of these drivers, that could be a very real problem here this evening. So you got to be very, very cautious. You got to make sure you keep yourself out of trouble and keep that car pointed in the right direction, as you don't want to run into these issues out there on the speedway. You don't want to have an early problem and set yourself back right out of the get-go, or having to make early pit stops like we see Rob McDonald. McDonald, unfortunately, has to come down pit road here. Tough break there for Rob McDonald, as that beautiful juke joint ride out there on the racetrack. Another beautiful paint scheme here for the juke joint machine. Let's just say my name is Forrest. Forrest on the hood here, running on board with the juke joint number 31 ride here this evening. Beautiful looking kitty cat right there, riding on board with Mr. Robert McDonald here this evening. So great to see Forrest on board there and having some fun here at the racetrack today. As we'll keep on battling, we'll keep on seeing these drivers duke it out here in this one. But man, the fighting here is going to continue to heat up, especially as we see drivers continue to lay down laps, continue to inch closer and closer to potentially seeing some, potential, what do we want to call it? Green flag pit stops? Yeah, there we go. That's the words I'm looking for. Green flag pit stops potentially right there. As Joey Nee says, do you stream for anyone running ARCA leagues? I do not. I do not have any ARCA leagues that I do believe. I think I have a Gen 3 NASCAR Cup League. I think that's the closest thing that we got there to that one. As Janelle says, let's go Team HP Motorsports. Kevin Reed says, let's go Herbert. Dimitri says, let's go. Come on, Trench here on Trench here this evening. As Frank Ranger Jr. says, what's up, brother? What's up, Frank? How are you, mister? Says, this is gonna be a challenge. Never ran this track before. Ooh, brother, yeah, this is a tough track to jump out there and try to keep yourself out of trouble here this evening. So you gotta be very, very cautious. You gotta make sure you try to keep yourself out of trouble here lap after lap after lap. As Kevin Reed says, the 87 paint scheme looking real good tonight. Hashtag Sky Soldiers. Is that what's on board you there with him? Sky Soldiers? Oh my gosh. Words are tough, chat. Words are tough sometimes. As we get ready to continue to battle it out, continue to duke it out here in this one. We'll have to wait and see who can try to put themselves up and into victory lane. As Tower Operator says, hashtag Winker Nation. Brett Winker says, let's go Winker. Hashtag Winker Nation here this evening, as well as everyone cheering on their favorite drivers, their fans in the stands, cheering them on, watching them battle and watching them duke it out here in this one, as we'll continue to see these guys fight for what could be a big win or a big loss here this evening. It is yet to be decided on what they can do and where they're going to be putting themselves out there on the racetrack. So we'll keep an eye on them, see who can try to slide forward, maybe pick up a big dub here this evening, as it's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a very interesting race. Obviously, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of back and forth for a lot of these drivers, and just trying to keep yourself out of trouble is sometimes easier said than done. Oh, man, itchy leg right there. As we get ready, we will set them loose here. 13 laps now done this afternoon. 13 laps of racing action already into the history books here in this one, and we still got a lot of racing left to go, man. A lot of laps left here, about 140 laps left from Rockingham Speedway, and this is a track that one wrong move, one slip up out there on the speedway could put you, back in the field, multiple laps down, potentially out of this race right out of the get-go. So you don't want to have those early problems, and if you do, you want to make sure you can try to maybe catch a couple of caution flags, get that wave around, get that lucky dunk, and try to get yourself back into the fight. But for right now, it is a It's a tough one for a lot of these drivers, man. They haven't really been able to find a way to catch up and try to beat this 18 ride as Jacob Grube continues to lead the way. Grube out in front, 7/10 of a second between himself and Alex Pelican as Pelican rolls there in position number 2. Brandon Ming right in third. Then we see Nick Gardner. He's worked himself up and into position number 4 with Zach Michael back there in 5th. So Michael trying to race his way a little farther forward here, hoping to try to put himself into what could be a bit of a good run here, maybe potentially another win in the in the future here for this number 34 ride this afternoon, as we'll keep an eye on it, see what he can do, see where he can slide that car, and see if he can try to put himself up and into another win here this evening. Chris Gilbert sliding back a couple spots early on here, back in 6th with Nicholas Snyder there in 7th. Then we see Nate Maurer and Bobby Blair, Josh Ely there rounding out our top 10 with Tyson Pankow right behind him. Pankow definitely wanting to try to race his way up towards the front of the field here, trying to keep himself right in the battle, but sliding outside the top 10 after an early couple quick moves and quickly racing his way up towards the front of the field here. Definitely going to want to try to slide himself a little farther forward out there on the racetrack as we continue to keep on racing, continue to keep on battling here. We do see Tim Blankenbeckler. He is down, unfortunately, 10 spots early in this race as well. Definitely not the spot that Tim Blankenbeckler wants to be out there on the racetrack, so we'll have to keep an eye and see if he can try to keep on moving forward, see if he can make some moves and try to slide his way up here towards the front of the field before long, as that Fretz for Pence, the juke joint ride rolls right there in position number 17 on the racetrack. Ryan Peterson right there behind him. Then we see Mark Beverly there, Nathaniel Ostrowski, Robert Howard, the 24, Stephen Hines. Hines rolling there in position number 22 of Brent Summers. Cal Turboville back in 24th. Brad Lane back in 25th. Definitely not the spot that Brad Lane wants to be, with Neil Lapidus there in 26. Kevin Winker back in 27th. Then we see William Klein, Frank Ranger Jr., Kyle Van Tassel rounding out our top 30 here this evening, as Robert McDonald back in 31st. Unfortunately, one lap down out there on the racetrack. Right now, he's the only driver a lap down out there on the speedway, but that number 18 ride, he's starting to run into a little bit more lap traffic out there, so he could quickly jump into this fight, quickly be a part of this battle towards the front of the field, and maybe start to let some of these drivers lap down out there on the racetrack, man, as that's definitely going to be kind of sitting in the back of the mind of a lot of these drivers, man. The potential of going a lap down out there on the racetrack is always lurking just around the corner, and you do not want to have, an issue and put yourself into that situation. But as we continue to run green flag laps, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher for all these drivers to do, and it's going to be very tough to try to keep this 18 ride back there at bay, as so far he's been just looking unbelievably and unstoppable out there on the racetrack. We'll see if he can keep on moving forward here, keep on putting himself into a position to potentially pick up a big dump here this evening. Out to a 1 second gap now between himself and Alex Pelican, as Pelican rolls there in position number 2. Brandon Domingue there in 3rd with Nick Gardner back in 4th. And then we see all these drivers just still trying to race their way up here, trying to put themselves into a better position here this afternoon. And we'll have to wait and see if they can find that speed, if they can find that run and that lane, and try to pick up potentially a big win here this afternoon. Alrighty, as we do take a look back, we did want to look at that beautiful number 87 ride. John Herbert out there on the racetrack. There's Herbert there in that beautiful Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters number 87 ride, looking very fresh here this evening, as the Sky Soldiers number 87 rolls there in the 11th position. He's just looking to try to keep himself out of trouble, trying to keep that car pointed the right direction here all evening long. As we get rolling out there, we see him trying to hold off that 91 ride as Tyson Pankow right behind him. Pankow, the beautiful Dirt Track Junkies 91, rolling there in position number 12. Still trying to hold on to this ride early on, move forward a couple spots, and then all of a sudden now he's been on the slide backwards, and definitely not the spot that you want to be out there on the racetrack. You want to continue to just keep on pushing yourself farther and farther, closer and closer to the front of the field, and unfortunately right now it's just been sending him backwards. He's been going through it here in this one, and definitely not the way he wanted this race to go, but we'll keep these guys battling here, keep them racing out there and see who can try to put themselves up and into the winner's circle here this evening. As so far, clean and green, 25 laps have been completed. We only got a few more laps left to go here in this one, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here this evening. And for these drivers, you don't want to make too many wrong moves out there yet, man. As I said, you get into the wall, you get into an issue, you have a problem where you have to make a green flag pit stop here before everybody else. It can set you behind the 8-ball quite a bit, and it could put you back there in a position where you just cannot battle back. You don't have enough time, you don't have enough room out there to try to put yourself back into a solid racing position to try to race your way a little closer to the front of the field here and try to put yourself maybe into the winner's circle here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if anyone has these problems, if anyone runs into an issue out there. We'll keep an eye on it, see if anyone starts to fall back a little too far here. As right now, one driver moving forward is this number 3 machine, the Bronco Race Designs ride. That is Mark Beverly. Mark has raced his way now up 9 positions. Started back in 27th, now rolls in 18th, so he is marching towards the front here this evening, and I don't think he's done yet. He wants to continue to keep on rolling there to the front, is now making that move and jumping up into position number 17, now up 10 spots out there on the racetrack, and he may not be done yet. We'll have to keep an eye and see if he can keep on driving himself closer and closer to the front of the field. As we do see Brent Summers there, Cal Turboville, last week's winner. He rolls back in 21st right now on the racetrack. And unfortunately, John McGullich was supposed to start back there in position number 32 here this evening. Unfortunately, he missed the start of this race, and for McCullich, did not get a chance to jump out onto the racetrack there, did not get an opportunity to race yet today. He's still got another shot, though. He still has another opportunity to maybe try to slide himself a little closer to the front of the field here and get back into the battle, get back into the fight here today, as man, it's going to be a battle here for a lot of these drivers. I think we're going to really see a lot of cats run into issues, have some problems out there on the racetrack. It's not going to be, I'd say it's not going to be clean and green, chat, but it could very easily be clean and green out there on the racetrack. We haven't really seen too many drivers run into issues. We have seen some drivers fall a little farther back. We saw Rob McDonald unfortunately have to make that early race pit stop, but for him, he now has a few other drivers that are now a lap down out there on the racetrack, and the next one to potentially go a lap down here is Kevin Winker. Winker not too far away from being lapped here. Same with Neil Lapidus in that 26. Will Klein trying to hang on to the lucky dog right now, is unfortunately for this number 88 ride, the Dirt Track Junkies machine. You do see that a little bit of contact there to that right front quarter panel, and that car unfortunately has slid back and has been falling off the pace. You still see him slow here down on the apron, everyone just rolling right on and around his outside, and unfortunately that's putting him way behind the ball here this afternoon, chat. That is definitely going to be one that's going to hurt him all evening long. Is Alan Creasy? What's good, Alan? Alan coming in says, go Tim Blankenbeckler. Cheering on Tim here this evening. Is Jeff McJeffrey, Craig Michael Deacon, the Juke Joint, Fretz for Pets, Dimitri Curtis, Frank Ranger Jr. all coming in, showing the love over there on FB here this evening. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button here this evening. As Kevin Reese says, Sky Soldiers is a nickname for the 173rd Airborne Barrage, U.S. Army unit known for its airborne capabilities. They are the Army's contingency response force in Europe, providing rapid deployment. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. I didn't know that, so that's actually really cool. That's cool to know, cool to see. What the driver is able to do. As Tower Operator says, my dad was a bird colonel in the 82nd. That's amazing. As Tower Operator says, show us the paint on the 97 car. I believe you mean the 87 car. I don't think we got a 97 here in this one. There is that 87 machine right there, that beautiful Ridge Power Sports Sky Soldiers 87 ride. Beautiful looking ride out there on the racetrack. Always beautiful cars there for the Mr. John Herbert machines here in the HCK Beagles and all the amazing leagues he runs. And right now, rolling in the 11th position, just outside the top 10 right now. A bit of a gap between himself and our 10th place driver, Josh Ely. Is Ely trying to stay in that 10th spot? And you see John Herbert trying to hold on to position number 11 as he's got a pair of dirt track junkie rides right there behind him, as that's the 38 rider, Joshua Ledoux and Tyson Pankow. They're right there in 12th and 13th and continue to try to keep on racing their way towards the front of the field. Camera operations, my bad, lab. That's the 87 truck. Yeah, the 87 truck. Forces to various feeders of responsibility. Their nicknames, Sky Soldiers, originated from nationalist Chinese paratroopers who gave it to them, and it's also inscribed on the unit's distinctive unit. Okay, all right, that's pretty cool. Cool little bit of history right there. As a Canadian, we don't really see that too often. We don't really know too much about those, so we don't really have too many special forces ourselves. Here we go. Green flag pit stops underway here. 38 laps complete, and we start to see drivers head down pit side to make their green flag pit stops. Alex Pelican, Nick Garner, Zach Michael down pit road here. You do see Joshua Ledoux as well. Ledoux down pit side. We did see Jason Lepan, Cal Turbeville, Neil Lapidus also come down pit road, as Cal Turbeville unfortunately looked like he missed his pit box right there. Unfortunately slid a little too far forward. Had to throw that truck in reverse, get it into that pit stall. Unfortunately, that little bit of time could hurt him here this evening. As here we go. And now, man, these drivers not waiting much longer. One lap later, we see another slew of drivers head down pit road. Jacob Krug, our race leader, and so far the reflection of perfection, jumps down pit road. Brandon Ming also down pit side here in that 77 ride. Here comes Chris Gilbert, Nicholas Snyder there in that 5 ride. Brian Chu there in the 51. Nate Maurer, Josh Ely, Tyson Pankow, Tim Blankenbeckler down pit side here himself. Bobby Blair rolling back out there onto the racetrack. Nathaniel Ostrowiecki, Stephen Hines also down pit road here as more drivers continue to head down pit side. Here comes Frank Ranger Jr., Robert McDonald in that juke joint ride, and Will Klein also down pit side. As here we go, the rest of the field except for K-Dub, Kevin Winker yet to come down pit side. Is that Goshersberger, Brad Lane, Ryan Peterson, Mark Beverly in the 7 rider, Brett Summers all down pit road. K-Dub though, Kevin Winker trying to stretch out this field run, seeing if maybe he can get an advantage here with a timely caution flag. But as of right now, we've been clean and green. No yellow flags out there on the racetrack. It has been nothing but good, hard racing action, and the tire fall off could play a huge factor here on what Kevin's able to do this afternoon, as K-Dub unfortunately all the way back. He's in the top spot, but you see how quickly he's followed back behind the rest of these drivers with those fresh tires, about a second off the pace here. A little over a second on that tire fall off, so these guys able to make quick work of him and keep on rolling right on around. As Cheryl says, The Rock, let's get it. Winning combo for Team Ono, as definitely potentially a winning race here in this one. As right now, Jacob Grube has just been a man on a mission here this evening. The Tank Warrior, Pop Smoke 22, number 18 ride continues to lead this race. As this 18 ride out in front is K-Dub. Kevin Winker heads down pit side. That Muleburger Custom Home Sonic Graphic Designs Winker Nation ride will forfeit the race lead, as here comes our race leaders, the 18 of Jacob Grube, Nick Gardner right there with them. So Gardner, a good pit stop there for the 27, and that moves him up into position number 2. He's looking to be the first guy to be able to make a pass here on that 18 of Jacob Grube this afternoon. Looks like Grube is going to unfortunately lose this battle. Looks like maybe just a little bit quicker right now for Nick Gardner, and Gardner's going to slide around him and put that Napa Auto Parts number 27 right now at the front of the field. Grube sides back to second with Alex Pelican, the Bucky Celsius number 16. They're in third with Zach Michael back in fourth. Brandon Ming there in fifth. Nicholas Snyder back in sixth with Josh Ely, Bobby Blair, Chris Gilbert, and John Herbert now rounding out our top 10. Tyson Pank out there in 11th with Nate Maurer, Brian Chu, Mark Beverly, Jason LePan, our top 20. Joshua Ledoux back in 16th. A tough pit cycle there for the 38 ride. He lost about 5 spots out there on the racetrack. Ed Koschersberger there in 17th with Brett Summers. Nathaniel Osterwisky, Stephen Hines, our top 20. Here this evening is Cal Turboville there in 21st. Tim Blankenbeckler back in 22nd. Unfortunately now down 9 spots from where he started here this evening, and rolling there in 22nd as that beautiful number 50 ride. The Innovative Physical Therapy Solutions number 50 of Robert Howard rolls there in 23rd on the racetrack as Kevin Winker, K-Dub right behind him. So Kevin Winker able to unfortunately not keep himself on the lead lap, but he does have a few lap fresher tires than everybody else. About 5 lap fresher tires than most of our race leaders, and potentially may be able to use those to his advantage. And Nick Garner still trying to work himself through some of that lap traffic as he moves around the 10 ride right there of Tim Blankenbeckler. And for Blankenbeckler, he is unfortunately fallen all the way back down to 22nd. Now 1 lap down. He's currently in that free pass position as again you see that battle at the front of the field. Jacob Group not letting this 27 ride run away with it. He's hanging right there with Nick Gardner. Gardner trying to break away, trying to open up a bit of a lead between himself and that 18, but they stay glued together out there on the racetrack, almost door to door, but down the back straightaway does clear him, but gonna roll with that middle groove. Here comes the 18 ride back down low, trying to peek down underneath of him here, looking for a big run to pull door to door with that number 27 ride. As you do see another driver move down and out of the way, that is Frank Ranger Jr. Unfortunately now for Frank, he is multiple laps down back in the 27th position. Brad Lane multiple laps down here as well there in 28. Same with Kyle Van Tassel as he just rolls back out onto the racetrack. Robert McDonald, he's a few laps down here himself. Same with Will Klein. So a tough early start here for Klein. Robert Howard, Kyle Van Tassel, Brad Lane, Frank Ranger Jr., and a bunch of these other drivers that find themselves early on a lap down as Neil Lapidus, Ryan Peterson, Kevin Winker, Robert Howard, Tim Blankenbeckler, all now 1 lap down on the racetrack. And the next driver to potentially go a lap down is last week's winner, the 64 ride, Cal Turboville. Turboville able to pick up the checkered flag at Charlotte Motor Speedway last Tuesday, but now all of a sudden he's got a tough race on his hands. That 64 ride rolls back here in 21st, and he is the next cat to potentially go a lap down out there on the racetrack. As he's got a bit of a gap still though between himself and Nick Garner. He's got a little bit of time right now to kind of sit back, relax, try to make sure he hits his marks and doesn't make any mistakes, and hoping to see potentially a caution flag where that will bring everyone kind of back together and open up the door there for these guys to maybe start to, go down pit side, make green flag or caution flag pit stops, and have really no sweat on it. Be able to kind of make some changes, have some time to maybe make some repairs, get these cars hooked up and back into the battle here this evening is Gardner. There in the top spot, Jacob Group there in second, Alex Pelican, Brandon Domingue back in fourth, and Zach Michael rounding out our top 5. Nicholas Snyder, Josh Ely, Chris Gilbert, Bobby Blair, and Nate Maurer, our top 10 here this evening. So John Herbert just on the outside of the top 10 right there. We do see Brian Chu back in 12th, and right there battling door to door with Tyson Pankow for the 13th position. That is that Bronco Race Designs ride. The number 3 of Mark Beverly. Beverly right now I do believe is our hard charger out there on the racetrack. He's up 14 positions from where he started this race. Started all the way back in 27th, now up and into 13th, and continue to look to try to slide his way closer and closer to the front of the field as here he goes down low, looking to make the move around Brian Chu for position number 12 out there on the racetrack. John Herbert not too far away, but a pretty sizable gap, about 2.5 seconds all the way up here to our 10th place driver, Nate Maurer. As out in front, it's a contact right there. Look out. This could be our first caution flag. There it is. Caution flag on the racetrack as our race leaders get tied together. And around goes Nick Garner. The Napa Auto Parts 27 ride, unfortunately, gets some contact, goes around in. Man, that's a heartbreaker right there. Let's see if, just some tight battling here once again. Jacob Group down low, trying to make his move down and underneath of this 27. Unfortunately, just I don't know if the 27 kind of comes down or the 18 kind of comes up, or if they just meet in the middle here. Unfortunately, it does not work out, and for both drivers, they end up with some pretty sizable contact right here. You do see Grube push up a little bit, but you do see the 27 kind of coming down ever so slightly as well, trying to get a better run down the back straightaway and a better angle on corner exit. And unfortunately, they just meet in the middle right there. They end up making contact. The 27 sideways, trying to catch it, trying to keep that thing under control. Gets another little bump right there from the 18 of Jacob Grube, and around goes that 27 right. Alex Pelican, he'll say thank you very much for that one, as he'll slide right on by those guys, and he will now jump out in front. As here we go, Jacob Grube down pit road. Grube looking to get that Tech Warrior Pop Smoke 22 machine fixed up here this evening. We saw Bobby Blair also heading down pit side. John Herbert, Jason LePan, Nick Gardner down pit road here in the 27 ride. Brent Summers, Ed Koshersberger, Stephen Hines all down pit road. Same with Ryan Peterson in that beautiful 469 ride. Brad Lane, Robert Howard, Kyle Van Tassel, Rob McDonald all down pit road here. As again, McDonald with the best paint scheme out there, man. That juke joint transfer pets machine looking fresh here this evening. Absolutely loving it. Loving to see that beautiful cat on board here with Rob McDonald this afternoon, as we always like to see the animals there. As that is Forrest. Beautiful looking kitty cat right there. Is Forrest the Juke Cat. Forrest the Juke Cat. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see that. Forrest the Juke Cat over there on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you guys go check out Forrest. Got a little sweater on right there in that left one. Oh my gosh, too cute, too cute. Forrest has a little sweater on. Go drop him a follow. Go check him out, ladies and gentlemen. Forrest the Juke Cat over there on Facebook and Instagram. Beautiful looking cat, beautiful business there with the juke joint and the Friends for Pets guys, man. We love to see the pets there on board, as well as here we go. We see these guys still making some pit stops here. Frank Ranger heads down pit side. Howard also down pit road right there, as well as out in front. Not coming down pit side is this number 16 of Alex Pelican. So Pelican, Brandon Ming, Zach Michael, Nicholas Snyder, a lot of these drivers virtually are top 13. Did not come down pit road there. Now, they could have older tires. They could unfortunately be on a different pit strategy now, a different pit cycle, as we may see another long green flag run. And if we do see another long green flag run, a lot of these drivers were down pit road on lap number 57, where these drivers were last down pit road around lap 39, lap 38. So for a lot of these guys at the front of the field, if we see no caution flags here, except for they're going to get a lucky break. Yellow flag comes right back out there. Obviously, we do see some issues on this restart for the 77. Ryan Brandon Ming on the outside lane here, starting in position number 2. This does not look like he rolls right here. I don't know if he threw it into the wrong gear or if he was trying to start in the wrong gear, but it kind of stacks things up right there. And unfortunately, I believe we're going to see Ed Koshersberger and a couple other drivers all of a sudden run into some problems here, as Koshersberger a little farther back. Things start to get underway. I'm not sure what happens here. Looks like he may have just crashed the system right there, but we do see a few more drivers here. We see, oh, that's the 75 right. I believe that's Bobby Blair. You see the 3 machine as well getting tied up here in this one. A bunch of fast cats that were moving up through the field all of a sudden tore up, tied up, and having some pretty good issues out there on the racetrack, as we see that outside lane just not firing off right here. Things stack up. The 3 ride, he's also kind of spinning the tires, but so is in the 51 of Brian Chu, and that's exactly where we see that contact. Chu spins the tires, washes up the racetrack, tags that Bronco Race Designs number 3 ride, and all of a sudden Bobby Blair, Stephen Hines, they got to cut down through the grass to try to avoid that 3 ride. Luckily enough, not a whole lot of other drivers running into issues. They were getting more contact, but for the 3 ride, definitely not the break he was hoping for, as, man, that's a tough one right there. Just nothing you can do. Try to get that car rolling, try to go back through the gears and try to race your way up towards the front of the field, and then all of a sudden someone from the left-hand side of you drives up into you, spins you around. Luckily enough, very minimal damage there for that Bronco Race Designs machine, as we'll keep on battling here this evening. And now that's going to open up the door for more drivers to come down pit side. Obviously, we see that 51 of Brian Chu. He's down pit road. He's getting that 51 right repaired. We see John Herbert, Mark Beverly, also down pit side trying to get this car fixed up here at Koshersberger. Down pit side as well as Brad Lane and Kyle Van Tassel on that 13 right. Robert Howard back down pit road here as well, as I do believe with that caution flag and a couple of these yellows, that's going to put Kevin Winker, K-Dub, back onto the lead lap here this evening. I believe Neil Lapidus still going to be one lap down back in position. Number 23 here this evening, but Brian Chu, our last driver on the lead lap, as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. We do see that Muleburger Custom Homes Sonic Graphic Designs number 42 of Kevin Winker does come down pit road here, so maybe just trying to get that extra little bit of fuel, that extra little bit of tire here for that 42 ride, and ready to go back to battle here, and hoping that maybe one of the strategy races will pay out for him and put him up and into the winner's circle, as right now he is down on pit road, scored back in 21st. You'll get ready to rejoin the field and get ready to go back to green flag racing. So the green flag about to come back out here in this one, as 63 laps will be completed here this evening. So 63 laps done and over with here today. That means we still have to go, chat. There's still a ton of time for drivers to either move forward, fall backwards, or anything they need to, as Bucky says someone needs a 5-hour energy shot to get through the broadcast. I definitely need to down this Rockstar. I need to pull a Kurt Cobain and shotgun a Rockstar right now, chat. Is woo, baby. 6 a.m. comes way too early. 9 o'clock at night is way too late. I'm in my 30s now, chat. I'm in my dirty 30s, okay? Your boy needs his beauty sleep, as Alex Pelican out in front. Josh Ely there in second here. Nate Maurer there in third, with Zach Michael and Nicholas Snyder, our top 5 out there on the racetrack. Still, our top 11 drivers did not come down pit road during either of those caution breaks there. So, unfortunately for them, if they stay clean and green, they roll another, 20, 30 laps out there. They're going to be headed down pit side, and that's still going to leave them short of fuel before they're going to have to make another pit stop. So they could potentially have, 2 more green flag pit stops left for them to do here today. But if we stay clean and green, we see it go all the way to that checker flag. We will see at least the drivers that were just down pit road make at least one more pit stop here this evening. Maybe potentially be able to make it on just the one more pit stop, as Kevin Winker last down pit road was on lap number 62. If this strategy can play out, if he can make it another 43 laps like he did in that first run of the race before he came down pit side for his first green flag pit stop, potentially Kevin Winker could be one of those drivers that could make it to the end of this race, not having to come back down pit side. But we may see another caution flag fly. We do see some smoke up here in front of our 21st place driver, and that is the 50 ride of Robert Howard. Looks like Howard and Ron McDonald both potentially running into some problems here, as there you go, contact. So Rob McDonald and the Ridge Power Sports 87 rider John Herbert, they get tied together. John gets hard up into the outside fence, and they see the 31 trying to get down low and off the racetrack. Neil Lapidus ends up getting some damage there into that, and they see the 31 hard into the safer barriers there on the back straightaway pit wall right there, man. That was a big hit for the juke joint Fritz for Pets machine, and unfortunately some heavy damage there onto the beautiful face of Forrest there in that 31 ride, as we do see John Herbert also coming down pit road here. Green flag pit stop, I do believe, for that 87 ride. Here he comes after that contact and then getting shoved up into the outside fence. Unfortunately, some pretty serious damage here for the Ridge Power Sports KR Gunners number 87 ride, as he heads down pit road and looking to try to get this truck repaired, looking to hopefully get back out there. But as he is down pit road, he's going to go at least a lap or two down here in this one, as Forrest the Juke Cat coming in, showing the love as well over there on Facebook. HCK Beagles also coming in with that share as well here on the broadcast, as Jeff and Jeffrey, Craig Michael Deacon, all coming in showing the love here in this one. Everyone showing the love here today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button here today, as these drivers putting on one absolutely amazing show for us in this one. As Raymond says, let's go. Number 50 says hashtag good boy. Oh, baby, good boy there to the 50 ride. Unfortunately for the 50 machine of Mr. Robert Howard. He is down pit side here. He's been down pit road for an extended period of time. You see some heavy smoke rolling out of the cockpit of this machine, as looks like he has definitely had a big hit, has taken this car down pit road, and obviously, yeah, there you go. You see that damage right there. The Howard Orthopedics and Prosthetics or something right there. Is that what the hood says? Can't quite see it because it's so damaged. It's so tore up. But the Howard ride, unfortunately, down pit road, and he may be down there for an extended period of time here this evening as the Buckies Silverado of Alex Pelican continues to lead the way. Pelican out in front. Josh Ely, great run here for Ely as he's got that 09 engraving. Dirt Track Junkies, Triple J number 83 ride up and into position number 2 out there on the racetrack. Nate Maurer, though, right behind him, looking to try to jump up and take that second spot away as Nicholas Snyder and Zach Michael round out our top 5. Brandon Ming right there in that fight for that top 5 here this evening. Chris Gilbert, though, trying to hang on to it. Brandon Ming trying to take it away. Bobby Blair right there in tow. Watching it all unfold here in front of him as Tyson Pankow and Jason LePan round out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Right now, out of the drivers that were last down pit road here during those caution flags, it is the number 75 right of Bobby Blair. Bobby Blair is the farthest driver forward that came down pit road on lap number 57. LePan back there behind him, also another driver on that pit strategy. Same with Jacob Krug in the 18 as he's looking to try to race his way back up towards the front of the field. Nick Gardner, Brett Summers, Stephen Hines, all of that same strategies. We saw Mark Beverly, Kevin Winkler came down pit road on lap 61 and 62. They got the most fuel in their rides as of right now over everybody else as we keep on battling, we keep on duking it out for our lead lap drivers. It's all about just trying to survive here this evening. Not only trying to keep yourself on the lead lap, but trying to survive and drive your way up towards the front of the field here late in this race and put yourself into a position or possibility to pick up the win here today. As Alex Pelican leads this race just over a second between himself and Josh Ely. As Ely nice and easy into corner number 3 and out of 4. Down across the line, we will officially be done our halfway lap here. So halfway in, halfway to go here this evening for the HCK Beagles Truck Series, as it is the HCK 152 at Rockingham here this evening as some great battles continue to brew out there on the racetrack. And look at a little contact there for our race leader as we will jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here today as we crank it up. right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session as we saw some drivers make those green flag pit stops there, and pit cycles pretty much done and over with. As our race leader, this 83 machine, it's Josh Ely. Ely now out in front. He leads the way here at Rockingham Speedway. Back behind him in position number 2 is that 5 rider, Nicholas Snyder. Alex Pelican there in third. Cal Turboville back in fourth, and Chris Gilbert rounding out our top 5 with Brandon Domingue right down to his inside. And then we see that 34 is Zach Michael, Tyson Pankow, Nathaniel Ostrowiski, and Joshua Ledoux rounding out our top 10 here this evening. As Jacob Grube back in 11th. Now Grube was down pit road on lap 101. All the drivers in front of him inside the top 10 came down pit road around lap number 80. So they are still probably going to have to come down pit side here a couple more times this afternoon. And for those drivers, they definitely want to make sure that they can make the right calls, the right drives, and the right moves to try to put themselves maybe potentially into victory lane. And it's all about that pit strategy, the pit cycles, and how they need to try to navigate and try to slide their way up and into victory lane here this evening. As Josh Ely continues to lead the way. Ely out in front. He has shown these drivers how to get it done here in this one, as he has got that race lead, and he's looking to try to run away from Nicholas Snyder. Snyder rolls right there in position number 2. Snyder not letting him run away with it, though. Sticking right with him and trying to stay right on the back bumper of that number 83 machine. He's not too far away from Cal Turboville. Now up and into third here. This is a heck of a run for Cal Turboville. We saw him early on in this race. He was back deep in the field, going a lap down. Now all of a sudden with this pit cycle, the pit strategy, and everything else for the 64 ride, here he is right inside the hunt at the front, and he's right there in position number 3, looking to see if maybe he can pick up another win. Maybe another checkered flag in the books here for this number 64 right after winning last week's race. Finally getting his first one here with the HCK Beagles. Maybe he's not done yet. Maybe he's still got something left up his sleeve. Maybe he's got another dub right around the corner as Josh Ely, Nicholas Snyder, Cal Turboville, Alex Pelican, and Chris Gilbert, our top 5 out there on the racetrack. As now we do see Nate Maurer back down pit side here. We see a couple of these other drivers also making, pit stops and trying to figure out a way to keep themselves in the fight here this evening, as Ryan Peterson does find himself still a lap down out there on the racetrack. Ed Koshersberger, Brian Chu, Kevin Winker now a lap down here. We do see Nick Gardner is able to race his way back on the lead lap. Tim Blankenbeckler, unfortunately, back in 18th, is the first driver 1 lap down here this evening. So for Tim, definitely not the spot you want to be out on the racetrack. Obviously going a lap down is never a fun time out there on the racetrack, and for that number 10 ride, he's strolling back there a little deeper in the field. And for a lot of these drivers, you really got to start to wonder about when they're going to make that next pit stop. When does the next pit stop get thrown? Who's going to have the better tires? Who's going to have the better strategy? And who's going to be able to put themselves up and into victory lane here this evening, as it's still anyone's race, really. With all the different pit strategies, all the different things going on out there on the racetrack, it is still anybody's race here today. So it's going to be fun to see kind of all evening long who's going to be able to make those calls, who's going to be able to make those moves to try to put themselves into the best spot possible late in this race to give themselves potentially an opportunity at picking up this checkered flag here this evening, as it could come easy, it could come very, very hard, and for a lot of these drivers, it's going to be, very, very chaotic here. I think with all these late race pit stops, you got to be picture perfect, but you want to try to get as much speed and as big of a run that you can to try and put yourself into what could be potentially a winning pit stop or a winning strategy here this evening. So pushing the subject, trying to get everything you can down pit road may end up costing some drivers some pit road speeding penalties, potentially a trip into the into the doghouse out there on the racetrack, and potentially out of this, or potentially taking themselves out of a chance at winning this race. So you got to be very, very cautious. Got to be very, very careful out there on the racetrack in what you're doing and when you're making these moves, because you don't want to put yourself behind the ball and take yourself completely out of this race. As we will see this 83 ride, Josh Ely, potentially come down pit road not too long from now, as 117 laps now complete here today. And for these drivers, still a lot of time, still a lot of opportunities for them to race their way up towards the front, try to put themselves back into a winning situation here this evening. As Ely starting to pull away here. About a 1.7 second gap now between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder still trying to work himself through some of this lap traffic, and it's Cal Turbeville right there with him. Cal trying to race his way around that number 5 right as here we go. Ely and Snyder both head down pit road. Here comes Alex Pelican as well. Pelican also down pit side, and drivers starting to make what could be potentially their final pit stop of the day. Potentially their final run here this evening as Ghost Tech 10 says, I can drive better than Ledoux guy. I could see it. I could see it. Ledoux's been having a tough one. He's been having a bad run out there, so I could definitely see potentially, being able to run a little bit better than that number 83 or 38 ride out there today. As we see these guys continue to duke it out, continue to battle, everyone looking to try to navigate their way to the front of the field. And what we need you guys to do right now, if you're tuning in and watching and enjoying this racing action, make sure you guys jump into the comment section. Let us know who you're cheering for. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and become part of the Peacemaker family right here today. As now, here comes Cal Turbeville. Here comes Zach Michael. We did see Brandon Main, Chris Gilbert, Tyson Pankow all head down pit road for what could be their final pit stops. Now we start to roll into those other drivers that came down pit road during a couple of those caution flags. The 2 yellows that we had there around lap 50, lap 60 area. They came down pit side, they got fuel, they got tires, they've made these, different cycles and everything else in their rides and trying to navigate and make it to the end of this race. And it's going to come right down to the wire for a driver like Kevin Winker. Winker is still a lap down out there on the racetrack, but for K-Dub, he sits right now in the 8th position. He made it to lap 106 there on that last run, which I do believe is about a 44 lap run there. So if he can make another 44 laps, he's looking at lap 150, which is going to be very, very close on fuel. He may be a lap or 2 short here of trying to make it to the end and not having to make another green flag pit stop. So either he's going to have to try to save a bunch of fuel or have to make that additional pit stop here today. Maybe he just comes down pit road, gets a splash of gas and maybe 2 tires or something. Maybe that could be the call to put himself into victory lane. As now here comes Jacob Group, here comes Jason LePan. They both head down pit side, so the pair of Tech Warrior Pump Smoke 22 rides head down pit side as the 20 of LePan, the 18 of Jacob Group, our early race leader and our pole sitter here today, heads down pit side in his beautiful ride here this evening. But we do see Bobby Blair staying out there a little longer. Bobby now with the race lead, as tire wear could be an issue here for some of these drivers. Potentially on the older tires later in this run could be the difference maker between winning this race and not winning this race. If you wait too long, though, you may not have enough time to use those fresh tires to get everything you got to try to race your way up there and maybe try to steal this win away from whoever may be leading this race. As right now, some of those drivers that were able to come down already and make what is their potential final green flag stop here of the day. It's Josh Ely. Ely out in front of these guys. He rolls in that 7th spot on the racetrack. He's got about half a second gap between himself and Nicholas Snyder, and about 3.5 seconds behind Snyder. We do see Alex Pelican there in 9th. Cal Turbeville, Chris Gilbert, Zach Michael, Brandon Deming, Tyson Pankow, Nathaniel Ostrowiski, Nate Maurer, and Joshua Ledoux back there in 17th, as all those drivers have already made their additional pit stops here this evening. We did see Jacob Group and Jason LePan also make their green flag pit stops. Now they came down pit road about 4 or 5 laps after a lot of these other drivers, so they could potentially have a bit better tire and a little extra fuel in their tanks. We'll have to wait and see if they can drive up to the front here and make those fresher tires count here this evening. As Ghost Tech says, I'm messing around. Ledoux is much better than me. Love giving him crap. We know that. We know everyone loves to give Ledoux crap out there on the race. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, he's a great guy, funny guy, and definitely, we knew you were joking. We know you were messing with him, and we like messing with him too. And we like messing with all these drivers here and there. As here we go, Bobby Blair, our race leader. Bobby heads down pit side. So Bobby Blair down pit road. We did see Nick Garner already head down pit side here as well in that 27 machine. Mark Beverly and Stephen Hines also down pit side, as now that's going to give the race lead to Brent Summers. Summers now leading this race is the Boston Web marketing ride out in front, showing these drivers the way around this racetrack. And then you do see Kevin Winker, even if he tries to stretch out this fuel and not making another pit stop here today, he's so far off the pace, trying to keep himself in a pit cycle strategy here to not make another green flag pit stop. The 42 ride of Kevin Winker rolls there in position number 3 on the racetrack, and for right now, that is not going to give him enough time. That is not going to give him that position of potentially winning this race without making a green flag pit stop, as Josh Ely and Nicholas Snyder both able to roll up and around him here. So even if this race was to go clean and green and he's able to make it to the end, he's already fallen back 2 spots here to a couple drivers that have made those green flag pit stops, their final pit stops of the day. And now here goes a couple other drivers looking to try to race their way back onto the lead lap. That is the number 27 of Nick Garner, Jacob Grube, Jason LePan. They're all trying to race their way back onto the lead lap, as Josh Ely and them sit right in front of him here, as Ely's been a man on a mission and potentially has enough here to put this Dirt Track Junkies 09 engraving number 83 right up and into victory lane here this evening. Can he get it done? Can he hang on and trying to put himself up and into victory lane here, as Brent Summers still out in front, still leading this race. Technically has about a 14-second gap between himself and Josh Ely, but for Brent Summers, he was last down pit road on lap number 99, and unfortunately for him, he's going to have to make another pit stop here this evening. There's no way he's going to make it 53 laps without having to come down pit side, but maybe can catch a caution flag, maybe trap a lot of drivers a lap down out there on the racetrack, and maybe have that extra set of tires back there behind pit wall to use here today. Him and Kevin Winker could potentially catch that caution flag, could potentially be in the best position possible with fresh tires and being right there with the rest of the field, not on the not going down a lap here, trying to make a green flag pit stop now, and just trying to see if that caution could potentially help them out here. That could be a big brain strategy call out there on the racetrack, but it's very, very tough to continue to stay out there and see all these drivers roll around you. You do see that Ridge Power Sports KR Gunners number 13 ride. That is Kyle Van Tassel. Van Tassel heads down pit side. We saw Brad Lane unfortunately take his car already off the racetrack. Same with Frank Ranger Jr., Robert McDonald, Robert Howard, John McCullich. They are all down and out of this race. John Herbert unfortunately in that beautiful Ridge Power Sports KR Gunners. Beautiful Sky Soldier number 87 ride back in 26. Multiple laps down there for John Herbert. Same with Will Klein, Neil Lapidus, and a lot of these other drivers having issues here and going laps down out there on the racetrack, is right now there's only 12 drivers left on the lead lap. Joshua Ledoux in this 38 machine is the first driver 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. If he was able to get that caution flag, would get that wave around the lucky dog and back onto the lead lap here this evening, which may help him out. Definitely something that he may want to see, but for right now, everybody's trying to hunt down this 7 rider, Brent Summers, as Summers continues to lead the way. Summers out in front, then Josh Ely there in position number 2. The 27 ride going around him here is still a lap down out there on the racetrack, but for Ely, he's out in front. He's sitting in a pretty good spot. He could potentially be our race leader once Brent Summers makes a pit stop out there on the racetrack. If he makes that green flag pit stop, it's going to forfeit this race lead back away to this 83 of Josh Ely here this evening. Now he's got about a second between himself and this 5 right of Nicholas Snyder. Alex Pelican a little farther back there in 3rd. Cal Turbeville, a turn of events here for this 64 ride early in this race before those couple caution flags. He had Pelican went a lap down. He was unfortunately deep in the field and scored back outside the top 20. Then a couple of those caution flags, some timely yellows there, and obviously some great pit strategy for this Klondike 64 ride. And all of a sudden, here he is up and into position number 4 and looking for more. Unfortunately, he's about 3 seconds back of Alex Pelican, 7 seconds back behind Nicholas Snyder, and almost 7.5, 8 seconds back behind our race leader, Josh Ely. Is Ely starting to really open up a lead here? I'm not sure what's happened to Nicholas Snyder, but Snyder running into some issues, and all of a sudden, Alex Pelican right there with him. So Nicholas Snyder running into some problems. That's going to give Josh Ely a massive lead here. A huge advantage now for the 83, as about 5 seconds the gap between himself and Nicholas Snyder, with only 12 more laps left to go here in this race. So 12 more laps left here in the HCK Beagles 152 at Rockingham Speedway here this evening. And for Josh Ely, he is sitting in the catbird seat. He has the fuel. He doesn't really quite have the tires compared to some of these other drivers, but he's got that track position. Being out in front, has the clean air, has the benefactor of the drivers behind him. A bunch of them still are on the same pit strategy that he is, and unfortunately for some of them, they are really starting to struggle here. Nicholas Snyder now back 5 seconds behind Josh Ely. Ely with a 5-second gap. Snyder has Alex Pelican not too far behind him. Here is Pelican right there. That Bucky's number 16 ride could put the pressure on the 5 ride to try to take position number 2 away. And Cal Turbeville is slowly but surely reeling both those drivers in, so maybe he can work his way back up onto the podium here today. Chris Gilbert there in 5th. Zach Michael right down to his inside there in 6th. Brandon DeMing, Tyson Pancal, Bobby Blair, and Kevin Winker, our top 10 out there on the racetrack. As Ghost Tech says, let's go Ely. Cheering on Ely as Ely down across the line will click off another lap, and we get 9 more to go here in Rockingham. As out in front, the Dirt Track Junkies Triple J Motorsports 09 engraving machine. It's Josh Ely out in front, as you did see that 971 and Nate Maurer. Maurer got up into the outside fence. Pretty good right side damage here. No caution flag as the 971 able to keep that car rolling, keep on battling here in this one, as Kevin Reese says 31 driving right into 87. Really messed up that fast truck tonight. Yeah, unfortunate break there. That contact, the damage, and having to make that additional green flag pit stop there. Obviously really setting that 87 of John Herbert back there. An unfortunate break for him here today, as Kevin Reese says just catching up to everything. That's a bummer. Yeah, definitely a bummer for him, as you do see that 971 head down pit side down across the line. The 83 of Josh Ely looking to try to maybe keep that 18 ride back there at bay, trying to keep Jacob Group all lap down. He doesn't have to battle too hard though with them. Jacob Group still back there, a full lap here, basically down to our race leader. And for Josh Ely, he can probably just let him go. He's got about a 4-second gap, as Nicholas Snyder, Alex Pelican both starting to hunt him down here late in this race. But there's a lot of lap traffic between Ely and those two cats back there behind him. As down across the line, we see only 6 more laps left to go here. 6 laps left here for Josh Ely, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Do you think he gets it done, or do we see a late race caution flag to really mix things up here this evening? As we've yet to see Kevin Winker come back down pit road. He was last down pit side of lap 106. If he could catch a caution flag right now, it could be a massive flip of the tables here for him. Everyone will be on very old tires, where he could be on brand new fresh tires. And for that Winker Nation, Muehlberger Homes number 42 could potentially be the winning call out there. But with the laps continue to click down, he's just trying to hang on, trying to make it to the end of this race, and hoping not to run out of fuel and having to make a late race pit stop here, and unfortunately fall back a ton of positions. As he scored back in position number 12 was Ely down across the line. Only 4 more laps left to go. 4 more laps left here in this one, as Nicholas Snyder there in second, Pelican back in third. They're still trying to hunt down Josh Ely, but Ely still has has about a 4-second gap, so he's on a bit of a cruise control right now. He can just kind of take it easy, hope to not see that caution flag fly, and just hit his marks. Make sure he doesn't make a mistake out there that allows those two cats back there behind him to reel him in and get to his back bumper here this evening as Ely. 3 laps left as he heads down through 1 and 2, back down the rock here, down the back, the Thunder Alley, back straight away here at Rockingham as Josh Ely, man, he's been a man on a mission here. A couple of those middle race pit stops, a little bit of that pit cycle strategy, it put him out in front, and once this truck got that clean air, he has been absolute lights out, and he is looking to capture a big dub here this evening in his first win ever in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. He's hoping that the 7 ride here of Brett Summers doesn't make any contact with him, as Summers going to be respectful. Doesn't look like he's even going to try to get back on the lead lap, as he knows that Josh Ely just wants to head back down here and see this white flag fly. As here it is, white flag in the air. The next flag will end this race no matter what, as Ely has a 4.3-second gap between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder trying to hold on to second, but Pelican right there on his back bumper. This is a great battle back here for position number 2. As here comes Alex Pelican down to the inside, looking to make the move, but Snyder able to hold him off as down through 3 and out of 4. It's Josh Ely who picks up the checkered flag here at Rockingham Speedway. The Dirt Track Junkies Triple J09 engraving number 83 of Josh Ely will find victory lane here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series at the HCK 152 at Rockingham here this evening. Finally finished. The checkered flag is displayed, and only one driver gets to celebrate out here on the front straightaway, and that is Josh Ely. Ely getting the dub, and we will get ready to pull him up into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interviews. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Mr. Ely here today, man. What a run and what a drive there for that 83 ride. Absolute lights out, man. Great race, a great run there for him. He was looking fast all day long and just not making any late race mistakes, not having any slip-ups out there on the racetrack, just trying to keep himself in that winning position. He was able to do it, man, lap after lap after lap, not making any mistakes, not putting himself into bad areas out there on the racetrack, and putting him now himself up and into victory lane as we'll get ready to pull him up and into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. We'll wait for our top 3 to jump up into the podium finisher waiting room here in the Discord and get ready to give our post-race interviews here today as Nicholas Snyder, Alex Pelican, they're in 2nd and 3rd, and we'll get ready to pull them up into the booth. We'll get ready to see what they're going to say and what their where their mind's at right now after what was a very, very good race. A very great battle out there on the racetrack, lap after lap after lap. Only a couple caution flags out there on the speedway, a lot of green flag laps, a lot of pit stops and pit cycles and pit strategies that really had these drivers not only working hard in behind the wheel, but had their crew chiefs up there really working hard there trying to figure out all that pit strategy. As you do see this 83, he's going to pull himself up and into victory lane here at Rockingham Speedway as he gets into the Rockwell victory lane here on the front straightaway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Josh Ely as Ely able to get the dub here in this one. And we'll see if he's up into the Discord yet. I don't see him in there as of yet. Ely, jump into the podium finishers room. There he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our race winner, Joshua Ely. Hey, Josh, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Let's go!
Let's go, baby. Ely getting it done and picking up the dub here in Rockingham, man. Take us through the emotions and what's going through your mind right now as you park this 83 up and into victory lane.
I'm just happy to be here. I mean, it's been a long time coming. We've led some laps previously in a couple races, and I think entering pit road and a caution coming out, just wrong place at the wrong time has stopped a couple of our good runs that we had. Well, we finally done it. Everything played out the way we wanted it to, and here we are.
Absolutely. Finally checking off all those boxes and finally getting that monkey off your back and parking that Dirt Track Junkies ride up and into victory lane. It's definitely been a long time coming. A lot of really good runs, a lot of fast trucks out there, and as he said, something always coming up and just, affecting this ride just ever so slightly and making it so that you can't make your way into victory lane or into a solid, good top 3 run even here on the season. But tonight, you're able to put that all into the rear view mirror, and now look forward as now our latest winner here in the HCK Beagles. Obviously, your first win here with this series, and I do believe, with this league, your first win and potentially your first really big league win here on the pavement side of things.
Yeah, it is. Man, I don't race pavement whatsoever. I honestly don't even know how we got the I rating that we have now. So, I we don't race pavement. We're just here to support our good buddy, our rap guy, Milner Meeting Designs with Charlie Milner. He put us into this thing, and I had low expectations in this, and I was just going to run it for a little bit of advertisement for him, and man, I've come to like this thing. I've run more asphalt here lately than I have dirt, so I don't know. Maybe I'm making a transition over to asphalt because I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of fun, a lot of leagues, and a lot of great opportunities for you to keep on learning and experience, the different things that iRacing has to offer. And being from that dirt track side of things and now jumping out there onto the asphalt, obviously a complete 180 right there and a whole different ball game. But you've really seemed to be picking it up here lately. Obviously, we've seen some strong runs. We talked about that, and obviously having some, snake bitten moments out there on the racetrack in the previous weeks. But man, you keep on finding speed, keep having these great runs, and we knew it wasn't going to be long before you'd be up here in victory lane, and now finally able to capture this one, man. Does it kind of all start to click together now? Do we start to maybe see an onslaught of this 83 right up in victory lane?
I'm hoping so. I think you'll see us more up towards the front, as you have been seeing. I think I could probably win a couple more if I buy these tracks a lot sooner and get some more practice on them. But I just bought this track, and the first laps I turned on it was when we loaded into this server. So I'm glad I figured out the line a little bit quicker than what I needed to, and man, we're just glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, man, a heck of a run, and for a guy that just bought Rockingham and jumped out there, a track that most drivers have a long time of just trying to figure it out, trying to find their groove out there on the racetrack, man. How did you figure this place out so quickly? How did you find the line? How did you find that speed and put yourself into this situation with not a whole lot of practice time in that 83 truck here at Rockingham?
uh, my boy Tyson, Mr. Pancow, he's run this track a pretty good bit. Ledoux has too, and I just got great teammates, man. That will let me know where the line is. That has raced asphalt before, before I have, and kind of knows these tracks a little bit, here and there. And so my team is what got this win. It wasn't just me; it was my team.
Absolutely. Well, teamwork makes the dream work, and you park that Dirt Track Junkie 09 engraving Triple J Motorsports ride up and into victory lane here this evening in the HCK 152 at Rockingham Speedway here this evening. Josh, who would you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance in capturing the checkered flag here this evening?
I gotta first start off with thanking my teammates, man. Without them, we wouldn't be up here even with a fighting chance. And also with our team leader, Mr. Tubbs Milner. If anybody needs a design, go hit him up. I mean, he puts out some badass wraps with Milner Medium Design. So I got to thank him too for even putting us into this seat and trusting us to drive this number 83 truck for him. But Dirt Track Junkies, Triple J Motorsports, 09 Laser Engraving. Uh, all my teammates, you for broadcasting, everybody that puts HCK on, and yeah, my wife for letting me do what I do, and my kid for staying out of my hair. So
Absolutely, definitely a huge bunch of congratulations there to not only yourself for your first HCK Beagles Truck Series win here this evening, but for the team as well. And I know Tums is he's already pumped up, man. Using the chat says, we already cracking cold ones over here. Joshua Ledoux says, well-deserved win for Ely. Dude's being so close so many times, and, well, tonight, he's able to get it done. Josh, congratulations on the win, man, and hopefully more and more trips up here into the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth, Victory Lane, more and more here throughout the rest of this season.
We're gonna try to, man, as much as we can. So
Beauty. Well, we look forward to seeing you back out there in action next Tuesday, and hopefully right back up here joining us in the booth.
yes, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Josh Ely picking up the dub here in this one. The 83 finds his way into Victory Lane as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Let's pull Snyder up here into the booth. Hey Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Nick, man, another strong run, another great race here for you tonight, man. And right there, after that final wave of green flag pit stops, you weren't too far away from Ely. Then looked like a little bit of issues there with some lap traffic, and all of a sudden you fall back in a quick hurry, and all of a sudden you're back, 4 or 5 seconds there, and all of a sudden without, with no longer in reach of that 83 here late in this race. What was kind of going through your mind there, and some issues up there on the racetrack all of a sudden took you from being in the contention, in the hunt for the win, to all of a sudden just hoping for a mistake out of that 83 Ryan, and hoping that he runs into some issues with that lap traffic as well?
Yeah, definitely mixed emotions tonight. I mean, proud of the second. I felt like I was a little bit better than Josh there during traffic, especially in the second run that we did have. I was just able to move the truck however I wanted to, and he was just kind of committed to one lane and couldn't really move around, or if he did, he could never complete the passes. And we were getting ready to get into the thick of it there at the end, but I'm just gonna take blame. I thought the 13 was gonna give me the lane since he's multiple laps down, and yeah, he didn't. He slowed center of the corner, and I thought he was just gonna give it to me, so I just started, to let my truck drift up so I wouldn't, cut off too much speed, just trying to hug the bottom, and a mistake on my part, I guess. But again, all in all, good night. We're pointing in the right direction. Almost took it away from myself there at the end, and just wish I can have that one back.
Absolutely, that one single mistake is all it takes, just showing and proving how good and how talented all these drivers are, where that one slip up out there on the racetrack all of a sudden takes you out of the runnings here for the victory today. But you're able to hang on, still keep that number 57, no, the 5 ride out there now. The 5 ride up and in position number 2 here, honestly holding off Alex Pelican, as he was right there hassling you, trying to find a way around you, trying to steal position number 2 from you here this evening. But you're able to come home in position number 2 and still have a very solid run out there. Obviously a lot of green flag laps, not a whole lot of cautions, and a lot of different pit strategy and pit cycles out there, man. What was kind of going through your mind there throughout some of those pit cycles this afternoon, and obviously having to make multiple green flag pit stops here at Rockingham?
Oh yeah, it was fun. I just feel like me and Jacob and Chris are probably the best ones to get onto pit road. Josh had about a second lead. I don't know if he babied it or not, but I was able to make up that whole second. Just entering pit road. Just when we did pit, and when a couple guys stayed out longer, especially when they pitted, when that caution came out like halfway through the run there after the first run. And I'm just like hoping no cautions, because then that just takes all of us out of the race, and it puts it right back in Jacob's hands. So it's unfortunate what happened to him, and I think he was the dominant truck all night. He was good here last year. Him and I pretty much battled last year here until we both got really racing really hard and took each other out of that win last year. But all in all, it was a decent night. Driver just has to pick up qualifying. This year I just been sucking at qualifying, and I seem to always qualify fifth or back. I just got to clean that up so I don't make it too hard on myself at the beginning of the race.
Absolutely, a little too hard early on, but all of a sudden, late in these races, you tend to be right there in contention, battling at the front of the field. As again here tonight, Nick, you parked that number 5 right up and into position number 2. Man, who'd you like to thank for another strong run and strong race out there on the track?
I'd just like to thank everybody, again on their Tuesday night taking their time to watch the race. Hopefully, it was an exciting race. I know it was kind of boring there at the end, couldn't pass, but once lap traffic got into play, there was a bunch of moves to be made. So that was exciting on my end at least. Snyder Bees Racing and Ian, Julie, Dean, my dad, and my mom for letting me do stuff in real life, and Carrillo, Pistons and Rods for coming on board this year with the sprint car and stuff. So just looking forward to getting behind the wheel this weekend in the 360 sprint car at Hendry County Motorsports.
Absolutely, brother. Well, heck of a run, heck of a drive here tonight, Nick. We can't wait to see you back in action next Tuesday, and hopefully right back up here into the broadcast booth, maybe one spot better and back up into victory lane for yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher here this evening, Mr. Nicholas Snyder. As unfortunately here, doesn't look like Alex Pelican, our third place driver here today, is in the Discord. I don't see Pelican in there. I don't see him in any of the other Discord channels, and I don't see him in the main channel either. So I'm not sure. Doesn't look like Pelican's in here with us this afternoon, so unfortunately doesn't look like we'll be able to pull in our third place driver here this evening for his post-race interview, but I'm sure he'd like to say thank you to all of his friends and family, his teammates out there on the racetrack, and obviously all the sponsors there on his race truck, and we can't wait to see Pelican back out there for next week's festivities. But for right now, that is going to do it for us here in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here all evening long, man. Great race, great action here, right from the drop of the green flag right down to the checkered flag. And a huge shout out there again to the Dirt Track Junkies, number 83 of Josh Ely, for picking up the win here tonight in his first win ever with the HCK Beagles Truck Series. I'm sure he's going to be picking up more and more throughout his career here in this series. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we will catch you guys back up here in the broadcast booth tomorrow night in the next race, as we'll be going back to green flag racing right around 8:30 Eastern time. We'll be going back to the dirt track there with the Wednesday night street fights, and we can't wait to see these drivers right back out there on the racetrack. Some of these guys will be in attendance, some of these guys will be racing. When we look at some of the dirt track guys like Josh Ely, like Tyson Pankow, they will probably be out there on the racetrack duking out the dirt street stocks tomorrow night, so you'll want to tune in and catch them duking it out there and sliding out there on the racetrack on the dirt stuff. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Friends for Pets! Friends for Pets! Trucks flying through the night. our dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight. Peacemakers gaming life so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace. Speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our only place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our only place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights the engine scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam. Racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might.